We made it. It's the finale. In this video, I want to give you a recap of what happens with the family visits, the final rose, and then talk about what we can learn from the entire season. Please subscribe to my channel and also know that I'm going to be recapping Love is Blind as well. Welcome to Reality TV Therapy with me, Dr. Diane. Welcome back. How did you like the finale? Were you surprised? Did you think it was going to be Gabi and then it was Kaity? Let me know in the comments what you thought. But there's so much to go through, right? So much to unpack, and recap what I think could have been done better, could have been done different. Okay, let's start off the evening with Ariel. My God, does that woman look more gorgeous? She was the queen. I'm sorry, but poised in that beautiful white dress. She came on with such confidence. It was really reassuring. Now, what was really interesting too, and I don't know if you've seen this, if you've watched Nick Viall's podcast, because Ariel was on Nick Viall's podcast. She shows up in this black denim jumpsuit, and she said something really important, that she doesn't cry in person, but she does so privately. And also, what was really interesting on the podcast is she talks about the fact that her family wasn't too keen on Zach. Please watch the whole episode. I can't do it justice. But I liked some things about what Ariel did, because I think she was just so decisive in her speaking. She talked about it. So now Zach comes out. They talk about it, and she talks.
I committed to being in an open relationship.
We have never heard this before. Is this true polyamory different? But she knows that where she stands is that he is having different relationships than she is. But what I love about Ariel's composure is she said, you know, Zach, you took away my agency, meaning that she didn't get to say. I talked about this last week, right? He wasn't thinking like a couple, like how does everybody else feel? This is my unilateral decision. And she's saying directly to him that if you had asked me, Zach, I would have felt the same way, because I knew you were having multiple relationships and this is what I wanted to. So I loved that. I love the way that she speaks back to him, that she also has a realistic expectation, and that by him, you know, taking sex off the table, it became all about sex, right? So both of these women, we're going to get to Gabi too, but Gabi and Ariel felt like it diminished so much else that they had going on. And she also says, you know, I'm not here to beat up Zach. I'm here to thank him that it opened me up in the last 3 years. I haven't had this kind of relationship. And I just think there's so many wonderful things for Ariel to come from this. Like part of me says, I want Ariel to be the next Bachelorette. I love Charity too, but if they could make 2 Bachelorettes, wouldn't that be terrific? We have not seen many people as confident and secure as Ariel. And so I just want a worldly man for her. I want the best for her. I'm not sure if that's in Bachelor Nation. If we see her on the beach, I'd love that. But I just want her to have some really mature men to choose from. Let me know what you thought of Ariel. Let's move on now. Okay, Sean, Lowe, and Catherine. This was a little bit awkward. Okay, I love Sean Lowe. Love Catherine. Love their love story, their 3 kids. But I'd heard a rumor, I'm not sure if this is true, that Catherine was the one kind of filling Sean in about what was going on in the season. Okay, so we assume that like the previous people love the show, but maybe they don't. Maybe they don't watch it. So he drops in a couple times, you know, gives Zach all this advice. And then when they say, well, Jesse says to Sean, how do you think Zach did? Oh, he did horribly. But you should have supported your guy because you were coaching him and mentoring him. So this to me was like a big miss. And what I really wanted to see more of was Gabi, but we're, you know, listening to them and how traumatic it was for Catherine. I get it. It's a hard position. But I do have to wonder how much that they paid Sean and Catherine to come on the show. Okay, enough about that. Let's get to Gabi, because I think this is the real story here. And I don't know about you, but for me, it was really hard, the new format, to kind of pivot. Okay, so first let's talk about Gabi and the family visit, because at first, the way they teased us, we didn't even think that this was going to happen. I didn't. From the previews, I thought, oh my gosh, she's not going to meet the family. So she looks amazing, though. She pulls herself together. She pulls Zach ahead of time. She's looking for more reassurance. Because the last time she saw Zach was at the rose ceremony, right? And he's making eye contact only with Kaity. How awful. And of course, she's feeling insecure. Who wouldn't, right? The family does a lovely job. I really like the family. I think they're very emotional. His parents seem lovely. The one sister, though, is not Zach's favorite, because she was like, I can't believe we're here. Anyway, just the look on her face was that maybe Zach's the favorite and the sisters are just going along. Okay. So loved Zach's dad. He pulls Gabi, says, let me tell you, Zach almost died. This is news to Gabi, how hard it was. And I can only imagine for parents how hard it was. That this was a moment of adversity. And of course, the couple had to get through that. How difficult that was. But I mentioned last week that I thought Zach was unconsciously sabotaging because he didn't feel that he has sort of the level of experience that the women did in this relationship. I think this is another layer of this, because this is highly nuanced. That also, if your dad is telling you that you bond around adversity, then you create adversity, right? Because that's what you experience as love. But clearly the parents adore Zach, right? Zach's dad is saying, well, I really like him. And, the mom is like, oh, I'm so excited. You're falling in love. And this, I thought, is why, and we're going to get to why Zach ends up choosing the woman that he does. Okay. So Gabi now, let's get to the, they have a final date, right? They go horseback riding. Lots of people lost their audio on this. Of course, there were lots of funny memes about this, but I came back from my trip. I missed the first part of the date. And then when I caught it on the replay, the audio was there. So I can hear everything they're saying, that they are, on their horses, and Gabi is doing fine until the moment when Zach says, well, I've got the most important decision to make of my life. I, not we. And here's the part again. He's self-focused, and Gabi's looking for reassurance, and she's not getting it. Okay, so we see then the final limo. Gabi comes out, beautiful yellow dress. I think she looks stunning. Her hair looks perfect. Her shoes. Steps right in the mud, in the puddle. And that moment when she says,
that's a really muddy spot. Y'all shouldn't pull in right there. When it actually matters, when Kaity arrives, don't do that to her.
Ooh, ouch. My God, she's still looking out for her friend, but she knows it's not her. And we can see everything that this poor woman has gone through. Not only because we saw last week that, Zach had disclosed something which should have been private, that we all have found out about Sex Week. Now Gabi is struggling, right? And you just kind of want to hug her. And because she's going through a tough time, right? She is the one who's actually been most hurt. But it's this monologue about what an anxious person feels, right? Is it me? The constant cycling of doubting, then trusting my intuition. Do I trust my gut? Do I not? Am I the person? Maybe he can't tell me, but he told me he was falling in love with me. And he told me that this was private, so I should believe him. And you could just see this poor girl kind of spiraling. Okay, so now after, Zach says to her all these lovely things, but here it is, the but. The big but. We always know when there's a but, it's not good. And, but he doesn't say there's somebody else, but, and Zach, and Gabi says, no, stop, Zach. I don't want to hear it. This is just too much.
It's fine. I knew it was coming. I've known it was coming. What I don't know is why you wouldn't tell me when you knew.
And good for her. We've never seen that before. She's very clear. I'm done. I don't want to hear all of this. I don't need your pity. I don't need an apology. I'm going to wish you well, and I'm going to leave. I thought good for Gabi to take her power back. Okay, so we get to the stage now, and now here she is looking gorgeous. Zach comes out, and we now have to listen to all of this, right? And the question for Gabi, and you know that the poor thing, she has been with this question since November when this finished filming, is that at what moment did you know? Okay? At what moment did you know that it wasn't me? Now, we can say that it was the moment when Ariel leaves and she knows, could Gabi have left? I suppose, but of course your anxiety is playing tricks with you. You think maybe it is me, maybe I should stay, right? We know the producers probably told her, oh, sweetheart, he's going to pick you because they want the show, right? But I feel like Gabi gets lost in all of this. And as she said, now the narrative becomes about me and about sex, and we know women have been shamed for this, and I feel badly for her. Because here's the thing, Zach could have handled it 100 different ways, right? He could have, even if he decided, even if it's true, that Zach figured it out the night before in bed. Those are his words. He could have gone to Gabi that morning and said, Gabi, I don't want to put you through this. Don't bother getting dressed. I don't want you to have to go through all of that. He could have. And he didn't. And that is the moment that's really the hardest for people to get over. That you said,
I was brushing my teeth and you came up behind me. You kissed me on the back of my head. You said, this is just between us.
you were going to keep what happened between us private, and you didn't. And she didn't know until the week before. That was the shocker. And then you told me you loved me and that you had my back, and it felt so good, and then it got yanked from me. So this is the part. Now, how does Zach do with all of that? Well, thankfully, he wasn't defensive. He did own his part. He did say that he was sorry. And I think he tried to do the best he could on stage. But this is just hard for all of us to get over, right? It's so hard. And so everybody wants to protect Gabi, you know, the person who said, like, Gabi, we love you. It's like, yes, we want better for her. So this was a tough one. People have asked me, what do I think of Gabi's attachment style? I think she does also have an anxious attachment style like Zach. And this is why I don't think they would have been a good couple, okay? I know it's hard when you get your heart broken, but if she's anxious and he's anxious and they were talking about mental health and therapy and you join around that at the beginning, and from the beginning it feels like, oh, I've met my person because you get me. But the problem is long-term. Two anxious people, I have a lot of couples like this. There's a lot of fire and no one's the anchor. No one's cooling down the fire. So two anxious people from the beginning feels pretty awesome and feels, again, you're seen and heard and understood. But in the long term, it may not be the best pairing for both of them. And so I would highly encourage Gabi to find an anchor for herself. Not just someone who loves you every day or chooses you or puts you first, but someone who can really help her feel more anchored. And I don't know where that is. I would just encourage Gabi to go and heal and get some good help and some good therapy and take her time, because of course they're going to want her on Paradise. They're going to want her to be like the new Ashley I, to be emotional for their own drama. But I feel protective of Gabi and just really want her to take the time that she needs. She had an ex who's made her feel more insecure. Now she's feeling insecure from this. And I really just want her to take the time that she can. You know, you see her saying, I'm strong. And yes, you are, Gabi. You are strong. Okay. So now the trick for us is that as an audience, we have to switch, right? So now we've just seen this painful breakup. And back in the day, by the way, this wasn't how it happened. Back in the day, we would, even with a live audience, we would see the breakup, then we'd see the finale, the positive one, and then maybe the person came out and confronted them. So this just felt off to me. It's like, okay, you're asking me to switch pretty darn quickly, but here we are. Okay, next up, we've got to talk about Kaity. So Kaity has a beautiful visit with Zach's family too. His mother summarizes it best that she really felt that Zach was more comfortable with Kaity. And the sisters look that way too, right? The sister who looked negative before, we see a little smile. They seem just slightly more open with Kaity. Are they picking up on the vibe from Zach? Right, there's lots of private conversations that we don't hear. Okay. And back in the day, also these family visits used to be different too. Like the two people would come and then we'd see a little powwow with the family. We didn't get to see that. We didn't get to see how they weigh in on this. But now we see the full day date, right, with Kaity. And I kind of wish this would have been 2 episodes because it just felt like too much, right? Kaity is with Zach. They go on a hike. Tell the girl she's going on a hike so she can have appropriate footgear, right? Okay, they're in the watering hole. And clearly, this is an important part. This is where I think Kaity and Zach are a better fit, okay? Because Kaity treats Zach the way Zach's family treats him. She adores him. She looks at him, you're my hero. She says to the sisters, you know, I never thought I'd meet anybody like your brother. He's so great. We've seen her say right from the beginning, even their private date at the museum, you know, how enamored she is, how happy she is, how in love she is. And all of that is like, if I experienced my family giving me that, then this is what I look for in love. And this is where, when they say you marry somebody like your father or like your mother for good or for bad, right? That is what is familiar to him. And so that feels like love. Okay, let's get to the proposal. Well, thankfully, they didn't drop her in the puddle the way they did with Gabi. But here's the thing. Is this the most romantic proposal we've ever seen? No, because Zach teases her. Okay, well, Kaity, I'm not falling in love with you anymore because I am in love with you. Okay, I don't even like a minute of a pause here because I think that we've been through enough. And now we get to this whole thing about Neil Lane. Where did he go? Is he over the Bachelor too? Somebody said that this wasn't exactly the ring that Kaity wanted. She's referring to it as a disco ball, but I don't know all about that. But I do love that we finally, after so many seasons, we have a proposal. So I'm happy about that, right? I love proposals. That's great if they can work that out, right? Now we see them with the live audience. A friend of mine was there, actually. Love to hear. And we see them together. They say that they have excellent communication. And what I did love is that Kaity said, you know, this has not been a cakewalk, right? She's going to hold Zach accountable for some things, right? And I do think that she has a calming energy with Zach because she can be more of an anchor for him. She can kind of balance him out. So my advice for them as a couple, you know, slow down. For Zach, integrate all of this. Learn what you can from your mishaps. When somebody is coming with you with feelings and emotions, just mirror it back. Have more empathy. But when a couple is newly in love, I really just want them to have what we call the couple bubble, right? In the bubble, you have some privacy, time to, in the safe house, you know, they're playing games and they're having fun. Love that. Learn how to manage conflict, because what happens is at first when you fall in love, right, you're flooded with positive chemicals, dopamine, serotonin, oxytocin that bonds you to your couple. But sometimes that comes with a little bit of a sense of omnipotence, like, oh, I have this partner here, nothing can bother me. And here's the problem. We also know that couples who are on social media have an incredible amount of stress. You're getting DMs from people, oh, run, blah, 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 oh, this is bad, good, etc., etc. New people slide in, hey. So it gets to be very complicated. We also know from Clayton and Susie that social media was a big part of them breaking up. So my advice to Kaity, well, she has to forgive Zach. She has to understand why he did what he did. And then really learn each other, right? Tune out, turn off social media. I really don't care when people go on Dancing with the Stars because they want to just capitalize on their fame. Not good for couples, by the way. I think it's good for them both to be together. And here's the tricky thing. Now all of a sudden Zach says, oh, I'm going to move to Austin. Hello, I thought you lived in Austin. That's why people were joking around. You could have met on Hinge, on Tinder. This is strange to me. Supposedly he moved his stuff to LA. Now he's got to move back to Austin. But I really just want this couple to have one another, right? To be in their bubble together, to not let other people, it's called managing thirds, meaning like the other people in your life, and I want to help them. How will this look with Kaity? Can she maintain a friendship with Gabi and Ariel? It's really going to be up to Gabi and Ariel to decide. Ariel probably more easily. Gabi, what will that be like for her? Can she be around them as a couple? That would be hard, I would imagine. But that's something for them to all manage. I thought Kaity said something really interesting. She said that we were all trauma bonded. Now, as a therapist, I hear that term, and how we truly mean that term is that I had trauma from my childhood. Maybe I was abused. You had trauma from your childhood. Maybe you were abused, and we get together and we bond as we see what's familiar around that. Did that happen here? It's different, right? You signed up for the show. Does it feel traumatic? Well, other people have said, yes, it does, because of production, what they put you through, about all the emotionality. It can feel traumatic. I don't want to take that away, but it's not how we classically use the term. Okay. One other thing, Mike Fleiss, the executive producer, is leaving. This could be good news. I did a reel on how I think the whole season could be run differently. I'm looking for positive changes. Okay. So what does the future hold for this couple? Well, I'm just going to send them lots of love. Okay. I always love when a couple moves in because I think that is a real test. They did talk about having a wedding in 2025, 24? I'm forgetting. But okay, we'll see what happens, because that's where I think things really start for all of them, and they need to take their time, get to know each other, be around their families. And what I do like is that both of them seem to have a lot of support. Okay, so that seems really important. So I want to end this entire season with what can we learn? Okay, what can we learn from Zach's season of The Bachelor? Here's the lesson. The lesson is called the Platinum Rule, and I want you to remember this for your relationship. We go into relationships operating from a position of the golden rule. What is the golden rule? The golden rule is do unto others the way you want to be done unto. But here's the problem. We saw this happen with Zach. I would want full honesty. He said that with Rachel, right? I wanted honesty. I'm going to do my season with honesty. So he is giving, do unto others the way I want to be done unto. Not thinking, though, how that affected other people. And this is where it all fell apart. Because he did unto Ariel the way he wanted to be done unto, which is he kind of like comes in and sort of demands and controls, doesn't really listen to her. Then he does the same thing to Gabi. At the end, she's saying, no, I don't want to hear it. And he wants to tell her. He did the same thing with Kaity, where she's saying, no, I don't want to hear it. And he keeps going. This is the lesson. So in couples, what you need is the Platinum Rule. What is the Platinum Rule? The Platinum Rule is do unto your partner the way they want to be done unto. This is everything. This is the nugget you get from this. That you have to listen to what your partner wants and needs. It's not just all about you, okay? It's about the couple getting each other. That is the Platinum Rule, and that's what I want you to take away from this season. Think about what you want and what you need. Of course, communicate that, but also think about the other person. And here's the thing, okay? If you're single and you're watching reality dating shows, you can learn from these things, okay? This is my whole point. That you have to put yourself out there. You have to go all in. And people on these shows, I so appreciate all the cast because they have to go all in. If they don't, they go home, right? But you also have to put yourself out there. You have to go all in to get the payoff. And sometimes it doesn't work. What to Gabi, I'd say, he's not your person. It doesn't mean you're not lovable. Eventually, you will find your person by going all in with all these people. But know yourself, know your partner, know what you need, and put yourself out there. Okay. Now, if you don't know, you've been watching this whole season, you don't know what's my attachment style. I've got a quiz for you, a free quiz. backtolovedoc.com quiz. 2 minutes, you will find out who you are, and then you'll be on my email list. Okay. I have lots of other great blog posts, communication, etc. I thank you so much for being on this journey because we're all looking for love, right? And I say to you, do you accept my final rose? Thank you. Please leave me comments. And next up, I'm going to be following Love is Blind Season 4. Let me know if you watch the show as well. And until then, we will meet in June for Charity's episode. I'm already loving what we're seeing with the brother, that she's a therapist. Can't wait to see Charity on our next episode. But thank you again. And I'll see you soon.